Were you told you were shy? Do you identify as shy? Do you hate that word now? Do you just wish you could get over it and get on with your life? Welcome to Shining Beyond Shy, empowering you to create a greater life than you ever thought was possible. With your Shining Beyond Shy host, Fiona Cuts. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this latest episode of Shining Beyond Shy. I'm your host, Fiona Cuts, and I'm calling this episode Choosing Gratitude. And it was funny because I was like, oh, it needs to be about gratitude. And I'm like, I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure that I have spoken about the power of gratitude before and how gratitude can really change everything and is a great place to start everything from. And then I was thinking, I've become really, really aware through living my life and through being willing to be more present with what's actually going on, of the spaces where I don't choose gratitude, the spaces where I choose to go towards the problem rather than towards what is actually good with what's going on. And so I'm traveling at the moment. I am today in Kuwait. So you have me in my beautiful hotel room in Kuwait, those of you who are on video. And well, you have me on that anyway. You can have the energy of the luxury and the opulence of my amazing hotel room in Kuwait through the audio if you choose that. And last week I was in Dubai. And so in both cases, I've been traveling for classes. And I've had these amazing hosts in both places who have, invited me to come to their countries in the first place, and who are then doing everything on the ground, if you like, that's required to create the classes that I facilitate. And in both cases, the people in Kuwait and Dubai have just been amazing, absolutely amazing. And part of what they do, which is so yummy to receive, is they will, they do stuff that actually looks after me. So it's not just about, hey, here's the class and we've got some people coming and, it's like, hey, I mean, both ladies actually have found me places to stay. And any of you who know me will know that sometimes when I find me places to stay, I totally mess it up and get the wrong place and go and have all kinds of problems going on. And so in both cases, these ladies found me really amazing places and in sometimes trying circumstances. So in Dubai, I mean, it's really expensive in Dubai. Well, let's put it like that. I guess they are more expensive countries than other countries. And I've had to really look at my points of view here, because if we believe something is expensive, then we create it as expensive for us. And so there are plenty of people who live in Dubai and Kuwait who stay in these places that I'm staying in and who don't have a point of view about how much money it is, because they create so much money. And so I'm being like, oh, okay, I love staying in these places. What would it take for me to be able to stay here? What would it take for me to create the money to stay in these amazing places? Anyway, in Dubai, I'll give you specific examples so we can see this energy of choosing towards gratitude. In Dubai, the place that I stayed was so delicious for my body. It was an apartment with a lot of space to be able to make my own food to the extent that I wanted to. Washing machine, which is also great for me. And then just a nice big bed and space I was doing some sessions in the room, and there was space to do all of that. But beyond that, it had a kind of a beautiful feel to it. And it was quite a distance from the center of town. And on the days when I wasn't doing classes, I began to get a bit sort of bored because basically what was around there, it's like if you've been to any of these big cities in hot countries, of course, a lot of the year, you can't really be walking around outside unless you're stupid in English. You know, mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. And so basically, they're the kind of cities where outside of the center, you basically have shopping malls and apartments and hotels and restaurants, and you drive from one to the next, or you get a taxi from one to the next. And I love being out and about walking. And it was pretty dead where I was living. And what I found was that I was going to the wrongness of that, how bored I was, how I wanted to be in the middle of town, and I had to spend all this money to go to the middle of town. And before it turned into a big saga, and, you know, I was on kind of also going to blaming this amazing host who totally has my back and wants to do everything for me. I was like, hey, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, hang on a minute. You can choose to look at the bad stuff in this situation, or you can be grateful for what your host has done here. You can be grateful for the amazingness of this situation. You know, and if I'm honest, if she put me somewhere in the middle of town and had to spend quite a bit more money, I'd go, oh, that's expensive. And, you know, may have been noisy and, oh, that's noisy. And it's like, we can always, or at least my mind, and let's just say it like this, our minds are designed to find the stuff that isn't working, the stuff that's bad, the stuff that's difficult. It's like, that's the job of the mind. So when I chose this title, it's like, oh, we have to actively choose towards gratitude. And that's the reason why I put choose gratitude, not just gratitude, because it's an active step that we have to choose. I could choose to go down the rabbit hole of it's all wrong, it's all rubbish, and blaming someone else. And this is something that I can sometimes do. I can blame the people who really have my back. And it's a way of creating separation from the stuff, well, from the people who really are there for you. And this lady is really there for me. And I realized I was doing it, and I actually said it to her, and she's kind of enough space to be able to be like, okay. And she didn't make me wrong for it. She was just like, okay, well, thank you for acknowledging that. I'm just being me. And, you know, she didn't say this, but it's almost like, I've done what I can, your choice, whether you enjoy being here in Dubai or not. And I realized that on about day 2, it's like, oh, to the extent that I'm not enjoying myself here, that's my choice. And I make it sound like I had an awful time. I didn't at all, but I realized that I could put it in that direction of, oh, you know, I'm staying out in this place, and there was a saga with the internet not working for longer than it shouldn't have been working for. And, you know, I could choose to get all het up about that. Or it's like, how grateful am I that, I mean, what an amazing life I lead, to be invited to Dubai and then Kuwait to facilitate these classes. I'm just beyond excited about this, particularly after this, I was going to say years. It's actually been pretty much 2 years since COVID started. I always think it started on March the 11th, 2020, the day that I traveled to Montenegro, and actually the day that my dad died. It always seems that for me personally, that's when I can say, oh, that's when the world kind of succumbed to COVID. And that just might be my egocentric point of view. You may have a different date that you think it started. And I'm just wondering what the date is today. I mean, it may even be the 11th of March. But anyway, I'm making all of this significant. Let me stop doing that. And it just feels that after 2 years, the world is really willing to come out, or a lot of people are really willing to step beyond the crazy of the restrictions of COVID. And another gratitude word. I'm so grateful for that. But what I'm noticing is that as stuff opens up in my life, I can choose to be more grateful for some of the stuff that I had going on before COVID. So I used to travel a lot. When COVID hit, I had a long list of classes in different places lined up for, I don't know, about 3 months. And that's what I've been asking for. I've been asking to have these classes in all kinds of different places and to be traveling consistently and constantly. That's what I wanted. And it was coming in, and then boom, COVID wiped it out. And what I'm noticing now is that's not even what I desire. It's like, I love the life that I'm starting to create in Croatia. I'm loving the fact that I I'm starting to really meet and get to know people there. And my body is enjoying having some quote unquote stability. And from that space, I am choosing to travel when it's really light and fun to travel. So this trip, Dubai, Kuwait, was so super light, super exciting. Yeah, of course, I'm willing to leave the amazing life I'm creating in Croatia for that, and know that that amazing life is still there to be built on when I'm back. So it's like these 2 years of COVID have given me that clarity. I want something different now from what I thought I wanted. I mean, my sense is that I was going for something that wasn't really completely true for me, but we change and evolve all the time. But in terms of gratitude, it's like what I'm noticing is that I'm way more grateful for, and I'm choosing that too, way more grateful for the stuff that kind of felt normal. So it was becoming normal to travel all the time, to have people hosting me. And I've had my business kind of collapse. Laugh about it now. And it's like I've had to look at what I really desire to have in my business. Where do I really desire to be? Who is, it's like sometimes in the past I would be like, oh, they want me to come to their country, definitely I'll go, without really checking in. Did I want to go there? And were the hosts and I together really able to create something that would be worth, and let's put it like this, that would be worth leaving Croatia for? So there are some people who, well, it's like the people who have hosted me in Dubai and Kuwait really see the value of me and the value of what I'm doing. And so from that space, when I'm willing to see the value of me and what I'm doing and being, we can create something amazing. And that's when I get now that I will be willing and enjoy leaving Croatia for something that's really amazing. So, and that's the theme of choosing gratitude. I had the same thing when I arrived in Kuwait. So my lovely, beautiful host has chosen me this absolutely luxurious, beautiful place to stay in. I mean, it's just stunning. And it's so funny because actually the hotel is kind of right above a main road. It's like my view from this big window is actually pretty much of a 6-lane, it's not a motorway, but a 6-lane road with loads and loads of traffic. And I could feel myself wanting to go into, oh, well, this doesn't work. Oh, I'm going to complain. I was like, hey, hang on a minute. It's like the noise is like negligible. I'm here for 2 nights and everything else is absolutely fantastic. I can choose to go with the problem, or I can choose to say, wow, thank you. My host's name is Dr. Ekbal, such a sweet, kind lady. And it's like, thank you, Dr. Ekbal. I love this place. And I do love this place. And what else is possible? And I'm using the G word again, the grateful word. I'm actually grateful that I have the barriers down guts to look at this, to look at how often my mind will try to take me to the difficulty, to the problem. And when I look at my upbringing, that's what my family did. We always went to the problem and the difficulty. And again, this is one of these episodes where you don't have to be shy to have experienced this. And yet I get that some of the conditioning that comes around shyness will also come around this. And so it's something that I see with a lot of people who come to my shyness classes. Oh, we kind of go towards the negative. That's where we kind of gravitate to. And what if we can choose to change that? What if we can actively choose the gratitude? And one of the ways to do that is to just make the demand of you that you're present moment by moment with what's going on. And yeah. That pause for me was kind of a like, oh, right, yes, that changes everything. Because unless we're present moment by moment, we don't notice that we're off on some big unhelpful, not gratitude problem thing. We just don't notice it. We're too involved in it. And so I'm asking to be so present that I notice as soon as I go off down one of those routes, and I make the choice to change it. How do you make the choice to change it? So what you can do, oh, here am I complaining. Everything that makes me go towards the complaining and enjoy the complaining, I destroy and uncreate that. And we use the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. If you don't know the clearing statement, it's from Access Consciousness, which is the modality that I use myself and facilitate. And the clearing statement is like a magic wand that just whooshes away all the stuck energy around something and allows something completely different to come in. So when we use the clearing statement around choosing to go to the negative, to go to the complaining, and even enjoying the negative and even enjoying the complaining, it can start to erode that pattern. It may, if you allow it to, just get rid of it in one clearing statement, or it may be that it's the beginning of eroding the pattern. And if you'd like to know more about the clearing statement, you can go to the aptly named website, theclearingstatement.com, where you can read about it and watch a video about it. But that's the first step, to actually notice it in the moment. Oh, I'm complaining again. Everything that is and everything that leads me to go to the complaining and even enjoy the complaining, I destroy and uncreate it. And the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And then you can just ask, if I wasn't choosing to complain now, what else would be possible? What could I be grateful for if I weren't complaining? And just, it's almost like, it's funny, there's another amazing facilitator in Access Consciousness. I say another one because the clearing statement is from Dr. Dane here, who's the co-creator of Access Consciousness. So he's the first amazing access facilitator I'm talking about. And then another one, Brendan Watt, he talks about forcing yourself to do something. And when I first heard it, I was a bit like, oh, because one of the things that I loved about Access Consciousness when I first found it, that there wasn't much of, well, there didn't appear to be any forcing yourself to do anything. It's like it was about following the energy, seeing what was light. And I realized that sometimes it's almost like I've lost the ability, well, I haven't, but I've lost the desire to make myself do stuff. Like I would make myself eat a certain way. I would make myself get up at a certain time. I would make myself exercise a certain way. And I no longer desire to live in that way, but it's like I've almost lost the ability, how can I put this? It's like there's a way of making yourself do something or forcing yourself to do something that comes from kindness. This is what Brendan Watt is talking about. It's like, oh, if I continue with this way of eating, if I continue with choosing gratitude rather than choosing the rabbit hole, what will this create? Oh, it will create something amazing. So therefore, I'm willing in the moment to force myself to choose the gratitude. So it's a forcing that comes from kindness. And just see if that resonates with you. It's like you may not feel that that's true for you. Just see what's true. And there are probably times where the forcing wouldn't have been the best choice for me. But the space where I'm in now, it's like I really resonate with that. Oh, some of the things that I'm choosing, I may have to actually force. I may have to use some kind of willpower here to change this. So, well, I'm enthused about this subject. So this has been a contribution to me, this podcast. I really hope it's been a contribution to you. And yeah, where can you choose gratitude rather than going down the rabbit hole of complaint and problem and conclusion and yuck? The gratitude and the choosing gratitude is way more fun, my friends. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this podcast, which I hope you have, if you found it useful, which I hope you have, then please consider sharing it with other people who will find it useful, who will like this information. And please, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, whatever that is. And please consider writing a review. The more reviews that I have, the more people this will be able to get out to. And I'm on a bit of a campaign at the moment to get this to way more people. So many people struggle with shyness. So if you have any of those in your life, please share this with them. And let's see what we can create in the world beyond this crazy shyness. Okay, I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful for you. It would be great if you could subscribe, great if you could leave a review wherever you're listening. And if you'd like some quick, simple tips to overcome shyness wherever you are, please go to my website, fionacutts.com, where you can download my free product, 5 Steps to Overcoming Shyness Wherever You Are. Thank you again, and see you next time.